Americans are obsessed with British YouTubers, but they don't even try to understand what they're saying. So here's a little story that happened recently. So you know how a lot of British YouTubers, especially those in the comedy space, use self-deprecating humor when making videos. For example, using the phrase, "I'm a lazy good-for-nothing layabout who can't do anything right." And then they put it in the title of the video as clickbait, because people know that it's not actually true. It's just a bit of fun. But Americans came along and said, oh, wait a second, you're not actually lazy, you're just British. So because of this, they made it their mission to tell every single British person on YouTube to never use the word American in their title again. And now that that's all been sorted out, we've moved on to the next thing. Americans are telling Brits not to make videos about American. You see, there was a rise of British YouTubers doing videos about their experiences with Americans, and all the weird things they see and hear them say. But Americans didn't like the idea of being mocked for their weird behaviors. And so they decided to make a whole load of videos about how Brits should not make videos about Americans or else they will be starting a war. And now here we are today where Americans have decided to start making videos about the British. Now, fair enough, we do make videos about Americans, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. See, we like to poke fun at both sides. We like to have a laugh. We like to take the piss out of everyone, including ourselves. After all, comedy is subjective, and if you can't laugh at yourself, then you're gonna get made fun of by literally everyone. There's a reason why the British invented the art of sarcasm, but Americans took offense to something that wasn't meant to be offensive. And to be honest with you, I'm kinda surprised that they've taken this quite so seriously. I mean, come on guys, it's just a bit of fun. Why do you have to ruin everything? It's like when someone spills a drink down the front of your shirt, and then they go, oh sorry mate, and you go, don't be sorry, it's only a shirt, it's just a bit of gravy. Let's have a laugh about it. But then they start crying, and everyone around you starts staring, and you feel a bit uncomfortable. You're like, ah, never mind here, have a biscuit. But no, instead of having a laugh, Americans did what they do best, and that's complain. Complain about the fact that British YouTubers are making videos about Americans, and how dare they mock us. Because apparently we don't have feelings. I think what is more strange is that Americans don't seem to understand that most British YouTubers aren't actually making videos about Americans. They're making videos about the interactions they have with Americans. It's not an attack on America or American. It's just a bit of fun. You wouldn't get offended if someone made a video called Things My Dad Says, would you? I mean, unless your dad happens to be a serial killer or something. But even then, you'd probably still find it quite funny. But somehow Americans have managed to take offense to something that isn't meant to be offensive. It's a bit like when someone calls you a bad driver, but they're only joking. And you're like, no, I am a good driver. I passed my driving test on the first try. And they're like, yeah, but you nearly hit that cyclist, that was deliberate. Yeah. And then you're like, well, I was angry because he was taking too long to go over that bridge. And then they're like, yeah, but you shouldn't let other people dictate how you drive. And then you're like, oh yeah. Then you both fall silent as you realize that neither of you actually has a clue what you're really talking about. But anyway, moving on. Now Americans have started making videos about the British. They're not very good at it, but like all their videos are just like, here's a British person doing something weird and crazy. Isn't it weird how different they are from Americans? Look how weird they are. And it's just cringeworthy to watch. If you're American, don't make videos about the British unless you want your fellow Americans to think that you're a bit of a twat. That's all for this video. Now leave your suggestions for topics that I should cover in the future down below. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And remember, if the only thing that brings you happiness is watching videos of me being uncomfortable, then there's always tomorrow. Bye for now and see you on my next live or video.